Okay, tonight we're going to take apart this brand new MicroTech UTX85 Blade HQ exclusive with the neon yellow or flux yellow button. I got my cool MicroTech mat that came with it. I just got this from Blade HQ. The problem I'm having, it's not really much of a problem, it's just something I noticed, is that there's a sound. You can hear it when you try to retract the blade. There's a spring sound, and that doesn't happen on any of my other MicroTech OTFs. So since I have so many of them, I figured, and I just got the bit, I bought the bit with it just to have one. I figured, why not, let's take it apart and see if we can figure out what's going on. This is the medium triangle bit, and this again is the MicroTech UTX85 stonewash blade, MAGNACUT blade steel, and it's the Blade HQ exclusive, so it comes with this pretty neat, they call it on the box, MicroTech calls it neon yellow, but it was called flux yellow on the Blade HQ website, and I think it was mentioned that way in this ad they have for it. Pretty cool ad. You see like lightning bolts like going through it, and it like, you know, cool stuff. So I mean, the backstory, I'll go over that quick, is you know, I didn't need another Ultratech, but I really wanted this mat. Like, I think this mat is so freaking cool. It's a cool color, and I like MicroTech, and it would be a good mat to have while I review my knives. I wasn't sure if I was like, is this cool? Like, I don't know, it's obnoxious, but I don't know. It's pretty neat. It's cool. It's different. It says Blade HQ or BHQ on the blade, you know, so you know it's an exclusive. Super sharp. It's brand new. I haven't, other than cutting a piece of paper, I haven't cut anything with it. I haven't carried it. I haven't done anything with it. I did a review yesterday or the day before, you know, so it's sharp, you know, from MicroTech. So in any case, all right, we're gonna take this apart. I have nut driver. I got my little medium triangle bit. There's $10 from Blade HQ. I'm gonna make it so the blade is not under any tension, and we're gonna take it apart. I've never taken one apart before. I've watched some videos, and let's just see what happens. Let's just start here, and let's just see what goes on. Okay, I think they do use red Loctite. That was pretty easy. It didn't require much pressure at all. Get that out of there. And there's one screw. Set that aside. Watch me lose one of these. So I'm pretty curious to see if I can figure out what is making that spring sound. It must just be the spring, I don't know, rubbing up against something, or maybe there isn't any grease on it in a certain spot. It's the first time I've actually taken these. So there's a little bit of red Loctite. You can see that. My camera doesn't focus that well. I gotta get a better camera if I'm gonna be doing these videos. But the screws are really nice. All right, let's put that aside. Got 3 of them out so far. And so one thing you want to watch out for when you're disassembling this is you want to keep some pressure on the slide button. I got to come out with a certain name to call that. Take this one out. They just call it the button in the manual here. I got the manual right here. Let's take a look and see what they call it. They call it selector switch, OTFs have a button that slides back and forth. So I just call it button. All dual action OTF knives have a button that slides back and forth. So we'll call it the button. That's what MicroTech calls it. So the button has a spring that puts a little tension. So when I get this last screw out of there, I'm going to make sure I have a little bit of tension on that so we don't lose the spring that is under the button. I just got this one. So those came out pretty easy. You know, it didn't really require, it's an aluminum handle, right? So when we retorque these back down, we want to just snug them up. We don't want to go crazy. All right, so I'm holding the button like this. And now I'm going to, yep, that was easy. And then I'll slowly let this off. There's the spring. Okay, and so we can see, fresh from MicroTech, there's a little bit of grease on there. This is the slide, I believe they call it. And this should come out. Okay, that came out. And then the slide. And yeah, so there's quite a bit of grease in there. Not a lot, but more than I thought they would put. So it doesn't look like there's any grease like on the back of the spring. So maybe if I get some of the grease back there, and it kind of looks like there almost might be, I don't know, some like burr on the back there. Maybe there's just a burr in there. All right, so I'm going to make sure I keep this the right way. This should just pull out of here. Yeah, it's just sitting on there. All right. I don't know how to differentiate one side from the other. One is shorter, so the shorter one goes towards the back, and the longer one goes towards the front. Let's just set this down here. Watch, I'm getting grease all over my new piece here. Oh, this slide looks pretty smooth, but there are a lot of like markings, like it was polished, but it wasn't polished. Like there's still a lot of like machining marks in this piece, and there's a little bit of like a gully right in here. Watch, I bet you my fucking camera isn't focusing on this, but you can see, I'm sorry guys, I need a better camera, but you can see kind of like the machining marks in this part. So I wonder if it just isn't polished enough. There's got to be some kind of burr. Very light. This top handle scale, super light. And there's quite a bit of oil in there. It says A6-1 REVR. I don't know what that means. This has the same thing. The slide or the button channel seems smooth. There's no burrs in there. And blade. See how that locks in? It's pretty cool. Push this up. It slides back. It's a little bit of tension here. Oh, that's because it's pushing the rear spring down there. Huh. There's quite a bit of play in there. Yeah, it's not as tight as I thought it might be. Alright. Watch me not be able to get this thing back together. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little bit of this grease, try to get it in that channel. Maybe it's just hanging up in there a little bit. I'm going to put it a little bit on the other side. I guess you probably, the whole idea is it's on the spring and not on anything else. Probably because the grease would slow it down right? Slow down the blade. But I feel like it'd be okay on that channel. Spring is pretty strong. I'm gonna just take this grease and I'm gonna move it around to the other side. I'm just gonna smush it around this whole spring. Maybe that. Yep. I lost my piece. My piece came off. Alright, so I smushed around the grease. Alright, I already lost the piece. Alright, let's put this piece back on. Alright. I think that's got to be how it was, right? Alright. Let's see, this piece cannot have anything to do. It was like that. Oh, you know what? This piece almost said, look at that. What is that? Now, what is that? That looks like a defect. See that? That looks like almost like a crack. It's not. I don't think it's cracked. But look at that little indent in there. I don't have like a stereoscope or any. I work in a metallography lab, so I'm used to working with materials and looking for cracks and things like that. So I don't have any way to know for sure. But this is like, I think it's a cast part. And that, I don't know if that's anything to worry about, but this is just what holds the button on, right? The spring, it goes, yeah, it goes in there. So, I don't know. This looks pretty smooth. This is a cast part or a MIM part as well. I mean, I thought they machined these. I thought this was a machined part, right? So if it was machined, wouldn't it be forged? And then they would mill it? Right? You can see the indents in there. Like it's cast. Like you have a mold and you flow the material, the liquid metal into the mold, and that's what creates the shape. So MIM parts, well, if they're done right, I guess they're good. Or metal injection molded, I think, is similar to like a casting. I'm not an expert on metal injection molding, but I know they use those in a lot of firearms parts. Metal injection molding, MIM. I worked in a gun store for 7 years, and the older guns all had forged parts. And oh, sorry about the camera. And the forged parts are obviously stronger if they're done right than cast parts or MIM parts. Like Ruger uses cast frames or metal investment casts. They're supposed to be stronger. And my understanding is that, I don't know, I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm just talking out my ass right now from what I know, and what I know is not all-inclusive. But it looks to me that this is a cast part. I don't think you would machine a cast part. I don't know. In any case, seems to be well made. All right. This part, though, is interesting. Because it has that little fracture. And I don't want to call it fracture, but it's definitely some kind of defect, I would say. This looks pretty good. There's some extra grease in there, which I don't think I'm going to worry about. Alright, so what I'm going to do, let's put this spring back on. So it looks like, okay, there There's a notch, but it's not like hooked. And then there's 2 spots for it. I don't know which one it goes in though. This goes here. All right, that must sit there. Now there's tension on it. All right. And then this goes here. All right. And then this must go on the back of the blade. I'm going to sit it here maybe. This is where I don't know exactly how to line it up. Okay, so you can see this back part, as you're pushing the blade forward, it releases this lock. And then the front one does the same thing. So you push this forward, releases the back. All right. And then that front lock is released when you pull it back. So it's neat to see. It feels very smooth in here. Very well machined. It feels tight. Like there isn't a lot of slop. All right. And I should be able to put this back on. And I think the spring it goes like that. And this should just go over the back. I got it the wrong way. This should slide on top. Like that. Okay. Now, we're not engaged. I'm just going to press it together. Lock the blade in. Let's see if it works. Yep. Hold on. It works. Am I still getting that sound? Hold on. I gotta try to bring it close. Yep, I'm still getting that spring sound. I don't know, guys. Maybe it's a thing I gotta send back. I mean, honestly, it's not really a big deal. I just thought it'd be fun to kind of see if I could figure it out. I'm gonna have to take some more time and look at this and see if I can figure it out. So that's how you take apart your MicroTech OTF. I think it's the same for most of them. This is the UTX-85. Same as the UltraTech, UTX-70, the Troodon, Combat Troodon. I'm pretty sure they're all the same. Don't quote me on that. Pretty sure they're all the same. But that's how it's done. And then I would just put the screws back in and put a little bit of Loctite and just gently torque them down. Gently, right? Because this is an aluminum body. These are steel screws. You don't want to strip out your aluminum frame. So I'm going to take some more time and look at this and see if I can figure that out. It might just be the spring. That particular spring is making that noise. Maybe if I put a little more grease on it, or if I just don't worry about it and just use the freaking thing, it might break in over time. Or maybe get a new spring. I don't know. If you guys watched this far in the video, let me know what you think. And let me know if you have any suggestions. And I appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for the next video. Take care.